Hi, everyone. So thanks very much again for joining us. I'm here with an alumna from our Morocco Multiculturalism and Human Rights program. Corinne, would you like to take a moment to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Corrine Ahrabi-Nejad. I was on the Multiculturalism and Human Rights program in Rabat, Morocco this past spring, so spring 2016. At school, I am majoring in psychology and human service and social justice.
Excellent. Well, thank you for persevering a bit through the technical difficulties and joining me this afternoon. We'll jump right in it now while we have the good internet connection and get going with the questions. So my first question I usually like to talk about is there are lots of opportunities to study abroad out there, whether it's in the Middle East or in Morocco. So what made you choose SIT study abroad and the Morocco program in particular?
So I'm very interested in doing research. That's something that I've been doing as an undergrad. So I really wanted to have my study abroad experience really enhance my research experience and to gain more. I kind of stumbled into the Morocco multiculturalism program. I definitely knew I wanted to do SIT, so I looked at a few different regions and eventually just came across Morocco. I speak a little French, so I thought it would be also a good opportunity to be able to practice my language skills. And the multiculturalism and human rights program seemed to really fit what I was interested in and what I was kind of involved with at my university here.
All right. Do you want to delve into that a little bit more about what you were involved in at Cornell that really made the Morocco multiculturalism program click for you?
Yeah, so I mean, I go to GW, but um, for me, I am majoring in psychology and human services and social justice. And I'm really interested in working with communities. A lot of my research has been working with families and children for different aspects for access to healthcare, to access to education. So I really thought because SIT, the independent research is so individual and you can really focus it and hone in on what you're interested in. I really liked that I could do that project and really focus it in on my interests. So I actually tied my research project to research I was doing at school. So I was looking at parenting and the way parents work together to raise their children. And it was a really cool kind of cross between comparing American parenting, and especially in this community, and then comparing it to Moroccan parenting within the Medina of Rabat.
And what did you find out there? And I apologize. I know you go to GW,
It's
but
okay.
Cornell came out of my mouth. Um, we deal with many different schools, as I'm sure you're familiar with. So, what did you find out about that fascinating topic there about parenting in the Medina?
So what was really interesting, which I wasn't really expecting, is there's a lot of strong similarities between parenting, but like nationally and internationally. So I think it's still seen. I really looked at the gender roles and how mothers' roles are kind of more identified as the hands-on parent, whereas fathers aren't. And I also see that here in the research I've done in America, where fathers still are less hands-on and mothers are still seen as the primary caretaker. What was interesting was within the Medina, which I found to be more traditional than outside of the Medina in just Rabat, the city, families had a much more structured idea of what mothers should do and what fathers should do, and a really structured idea on what it means to be a male versus what it means to be a female.
That does sound fascinating, and I'll be going to the Medina this
Mm.
next month, so I'll
Ah.
keep an eye out for some of your research topics there. Now, to let's hone in a little bit more now. You've mentioned a lot of different topics
Mhm.
about an SIT semester, so can you let me know, out of everything that you mentioned, or maybe haven't mentioned, what
Uh-huh.
your favorite aspect of an SIT semester would be?
For me, the part that made this experience, I think, the most unique and the best it could be, was my homestay. was with a family. I had two younger host sisters. I was coming from a family in America where I was the youngest, and I had two older host sisters, or older real sisters. So it was a really cool experience to be an older sister for the first time. And my family just really made me feel a part of the community and welcomed. I felt so connected when I was there. I felt like I could walk through the Medina and I knew where I was, and I felt confident, and I felt like not necessarily I was visiting. I felt like this was my home for this amount of time. They're also really helpful with helping me adjust to life. I think everybody going into this program knows that it will probably be different, being in the Medina and living in Morocco compared to where you live in the US. But they really helped me adjust, and they made me feel so comfortable being able to talk about the things that were hard and being able to talk about the differences, but still having that be okay.
That sounds really, really awesome to have experienced
Mhm.
while you're there. So, to change gears a little bit now, as you know, our programs are intentionally kept small, so you have a very hands-on, personalized, experiential learning environment there, which
Mhm.
is great for the academics on a program, but also it can cause problems that people don't know who we are because we don't have a massive student body every semester. So
Mhm.
how would you explain SIT to someone who doesn't know who we are?
So I would explain it that there's all a lot of study abroad opportunities. So I think definitely going into it, it can be overwhelming to have this whole list of different programs, to different countries, and how are you supposed to choose? So for me, SIT was the best that I could have chosen just because it was so small and so personalized. So I absolutely loved that all my classes were with this cohort of 28 or so of us, so that I got to see these people every day. And I think SIT really focuses on it's not just the classes that you're taking that are helping you learn about this country. It's really you're living there, you're living with a family, you're being taught by professors who are from this country. Every day is fully immersive. So it's really helpful to have that support from all of the other students who are going through the same thing. All of them are experiencing the same differences in culture and challenges that come with that. Um, and with that, I think it was so helpful with the small program and with our small cohort that we had our professor, Taib, who also kind of really unified us. And he was always there, and he made us all feel very comfortable being open with him. So I think I felt so connected, and I felt like it was a very personal relationship. I could go to any of the other students or to Taib or to Nawal, who's also in charge of the program, and really talk to them about if I had a question about the class, but also if I was having a hard time and I was homesick. So that was really important for me to be able to have that family away while I was in Morocco.
And the CCCL staff there is just phenomenal, I've heard. So
Yes.
it's great. Now, now that you're back at GW, have you had a chance to take what you were researching about parenting there in Rabat and continue the studies, either about Morocco or the theme,
Mhm.
now that you're home?
So I haven't been able to take my specific research, what I've done in Morocco, and really analyzed it more. I actually am really hoping to be able to present at a conference if possible. For me, I'm going into a research field. I'm graduating in December. So my research that I did in Morocco is I use when I'm applying to schools. It's really helpful in doing more research here. So for me, I really do hope to do a cross comparison to see what the differences are and really put that into a solid piece.
And please make sure you let us know if you do end
Mhm.
up presenting, because we always like hearing from our alumni and what they end up doing.
Mhm.
Now, this one's kind of a tricky question, so
Okay.
listen carefully here. If you knew something that you know now
Mhm.
before you applied to the program, what would that be?
If I knew something now before I.
If you knew before you applied to the program, if you knew then what you know now about
Mhm.
Morocco, about Rabat, about the Medina,
Mhm.
what do you wish you knew before you applied for the program?
I guess in a broad kind of scheme, I really had no idea the different kind of layers of Rabat in itself. So as for the program, we all lived in the Medina, and I didn't even know what a Medina was going into it. So the Medina is actually a lot. It's the most traditional you can really get. It's the culture is, you could say, completely different than the culture outside of the Medina. And I didn't really know that. So I think I would have liked to know that, because it's nice to be in the Medina and have that experience. But then I think it would have pushed me more to maybe venture outside of the Medina more and go into the city of Rabat, and to kind of meet other people who don't live in the Medina, because I think it would have really broadened my perspective of what Morocco really is and what Rabat is. I think I had a more focused view of what it might be, and that was only based on my experience in the Medina.
I will definitely keep that in mind as I'm
Mhm.
wandering around Rabat next month. Okay. So now, as we come towards the end, I always like to ask our alumni if there was one thing that you could tell the students out there who are watching this and contemplating studying abroad in general, or
Mhm.
in Rabat, or on your multiculturalism program,
Mhm.
what would that be?
So definitely study abroad. I think I was really up in the air on whether I should study abroad. I didn't know if it would take away from my experience here at GW. I didn't know if it would not look as strong if I was taking these classes that weren't necessarily as related to my major as if I had stayed here and taken classes. And I can hands down say it was the best decision I could have made. I think not only does it make me a more like open and knowledgeable person. I think it gives you so much knowledge on the world and on different cultures. Um, I made, so cliche, but I made like my greatest friends that I'm still in touch with, who actually a lot of them are in DC for the summer interning. Um, I'm still in touch with Taib and Nawal and email them regularly. So for that, I created such a community outside of what I knew. And with that, I think studying abroad and studying in Rabat, Morocco is so important, because it really does push you to broaden your perspective of what is your normal and what is comfortable. So I can say now I'm so much more comfortable with so many more things. It really does push you, the differences in just the food that you eat and how you eat and what time you eat. They eat very late. And these are all things that I would have, before I went to Morocco, I wouldn't have even thought about as something that could be different. And so I feel really fortunate to be able to have that different perspective, and to be able to have people who I consider friends and my host family who I consider my family, the people that I still keep in touch with and to always have.
Well, thank you very much for ending this on such a positive note there. And I really appreciate you taking time this afternoon to
Of
speak with
course.
me. And please keep in touch when you find out whether or not you're able to present at this conference, okay?
No, definitely.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You have a good afternoon.
You too. Bye bye.